Okay, so in the last video, we looked at how to set up Node.js and our basic project, which we have here. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Express to set up a server. So if you look here in the example, they do show you how to set up a server here, but the code is a bit more complex than it needs to be. So by using Express, we can create a server more easily than this, and it'll take fewer parameters and stuff like that. So here I just got an example opened here. This is what an Express project would look like in comparison. So you can see this is a lot smaller and easier to write than this big manual thing we have here. So okay, to get started, I'm going to open up our folder that has the projects in it, which is right here. And I'm going to right click and select Open in Terminal. So this will open up our current folder in the terminal here. You can see that it's our project folder here. And I'm going to do npm install express. Okay, and that should just take a second to install. And now in our index file, index.js, at the top here we want to say import express, and then from, and we need our quotation marks here, express. So I'm sure there's some library here that can give you autocomplete and make this a bit faster to type out, but it's easy to remember this command, so I didn't install anything. And down here we just need to say const app is equal to express, and with that our server is basically set up. So this express object here that we just imported in is our server, and we're just copying it into this app here. So this is now going to represent our server. And down here right at the bottom we need to do app.listen, and we need to give it a port number to listen on. So I'm going to give it the number 3000 here. And yeah, that's basically all. We don't need to type anything else out here. So in our terminal, I'm now going to do npm start, which if you don't remember is the command we created in the last video here under scripts. So if I run that now, we can see that now it started, but it's not stopping here, meaning that our server is now running and it's listening on port 3000. And we can verify this by, in our browser here, we can go to localhost, and then we need our colon and 3000. Okay, so you can see that it now connects, but it's saying cannot get /. So that's just because in our page here we didn't define what it should do when a GET request comes in. So in the browser here, when we try to load this up, it's actually sending a GET request to this / path here. So the / is just our root path. So I'm going to come here back into the app, and I'm going to say app.get. And this get function here is what handles when a GET request comes in for specific paths. So this is a function, and the first parameter we need to give it is what path we're talking about here. So in quotation marks, I'm just going to put a / here. So basically this get command here is handling what happens when a GET request is made to the / path, just the root path. And the second parameter we need to give it is an arrow function to tell it what to do when that request comes in. So I'm just going to put my brackets here, an equals to sign and a greater than sign, and then our curly brackets here. You should know arrow functions by now. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. And in the curly braces here, we put the logic for what it should do, but this should actually take two parameters. So the first is called req, and this is the request that's coming in, and the second is called res, and this is the response that we're sending back. So here I'm going to say res.send, and I'm just going to send a string here like hello world. And okay, let's save this. Now before we test this out, let me go through this one more time so you understand everything that's happening here. We're doing app.get, which handles GET requests that are coming in, and we're specifically handling this part here /, which is just the root path. And we're sending back a response here, so that's what these two objects here are. Rec is the request that's coming in, and res is the response that we're sending back. So we're just here, we're saying res.send, and we're just sending the string. Now if I refresh this in the browser, it actually won't work right now. That's because we need to first restart our server. So I'm going to press Ctrl C here, and I'm going to do npm start again. And now that our server is running, if we reload this, we can now see that it prints out hello world here. But if I was to right click here and click on inspect, you'll see that this is actually an HTML page, and it has a body with hello world inside of it. Now obviously if we were trying to make an API, this wouldn't be how we do it, because we don't want it to return an HTML page. If we wanted to do something like that, here in our main index.js file, we need to first create an object up here. So I'm going to say my obj is equal to, and we'll use a const variable here. So it's equal to, and we need to use our curly brackets here. And then we can say, for example, name is Theo. So this is how we create an object. We use our curly brackets, and then each thing inside it needs a name here, not specifically the word name, I mean the property name. And then we need a value here, so the name is Theo. And if we wanted another value in here, we can put a comma here, and on the next line we can say color, for example. We need our colon again here, and I'll set the color to like green here. And then here where we're doing res.send, I'm going to send that object that we just created, which is my obj. And I can save this, and now we need to restart our server here. So npm start. And yeah, now that that's running, if we reload here, we can see that it now returns a JSON object. So this is a good way to create a backend API, and we can send data to other applications through this API format. Now there's one more thing I want to cover in this video really quickly. If I Ctrl C and stop the server, I'm going to do npm install Nodemon. Nodemon. And what Nodemon is we see right now every time we make changes to our file, we have to press Ctrl C and then restart the server. But this Nodemon tool actually allows changes to apply without restarting the server. So it's a hot reload tool. So now that that's installed, if I come back here, I can go into package.json, and instead of doing node index.js, I can do Nodemon here. And okay, now if I do npm start here and start up our server, we see some warnings here. This is coming from Nodemon. And if I head into the browser and reload, you can see it gives us the same data. But now if I modify something here, like for example, instead of Theo, I say Bob here, and I save this, we don't need to restart that server. We can just come here and reload, and the new data comes in. So yeah, this is a better way of testing, because now we don't need to restart the server each time. And in the next video, we'll look at some more complex stuff and how to create more parts in Node.js. So I'll see you guys in the next video.